their nature.
Ouch. So, New York, get ready. Get ready for some probes. Ilhan's already dealing with them. Ilhan Omar is under investigation. Oh, I think they might want to consider her alliances and allegiances and whether or not she's really loyal to the United States.
She's not. She's not loyal to the United States. Are you kidding me? No way. Don't believe her for a minute.
Because I think we have every reason to be concerned about possible traitors within. But this may all relate back together, because if they're able to prove out that somehow the money that she was possibly allegedly getting for these fraudsters via the $250 million Feeding Our Future program, if any of that money was going back to terror organizations, and that's what the thought is, right? Because it was going through the Hawala system, and Hawala always takes its cut. The terror team always takes its cut. So Treasury's looking at how much of that was going overseas to these terror organizations, and if it turns out the biggest funder of Al-Shabaab, the terror organization in Somalia, is actually the Minnesota taxpayer and the U.S. taxpayer, we're going to have some problems. And you know what, Ilhan Omar, you're going to have some problems. Because the question is whether or not you and Mr. Timmy are clean or not. I do realize she thinks that somehow anytime we say any of this is just because of who she is and the color of her skin. I'm here to tell her it's not. We don't tolerate fraud of any kind from anyone, period, end of story. And don't tell me that I can't do this story just because you are from Somalia. I'm not having it.
There is a lot of hate in this country for Muslims. There's a lot of hate in this country for black people, especially black women. And there is a lot of hate, severe hate, for immigrants. And so I fit them all.
What is she
Thank
talking
you.
about?
Is the audio back?
It's crazy.
Hope it wasn't gone too long. Robbie Vincent, thank you for flagging that. Good. Aunt Candy says audio is fine, so glad we have it. Anyway, look,
That's
Ilhan
crazy.
Omar, and I was saying something really good. I was like, I'm not having it, because she seems to think that just because of the color of her skin and because she's Somalian, that she's in a protected class.
Yeah.
No, anybody who committed fraud, I'm sorry, you're not in a protected class. And right now, if you came
shouldn't
here
be.
and you were naturalized as an American citizen and you committed fraud, you're definitely not in a protected class. In fact, Representative Emmer is making it his business to make sure you get out of that protection.
Good, because I think she's
And
in
then
on
you're
it. She's gotta
denaturalized and
be,
deported.
right? She's in on it.
We're expanding and clarifying existing law to
Attaboy,
include
Nick.
anyone who comes to this country and defrauds the generosity of Americans and our government. And in
Yeah.
this case, you know, the Feeding Our Future scandal is one of the many in Minnesota, but that's the largest pandemic fraud case in the country. It was $250 million. Over 90 people were charged, and 85 of them are from the Somali community. If you come to this country, and I understand that in Somalia you got to lie, cheat, and steal just to survive. But if you come to this country and you continue to lie, cheat, and steal, you should not be allowed to maintain your citizenship. You should be denaturalized and shipped back to where you came from. And by the way, that would include marriage fraud.
Any
Woo!
fraud. Any fraud.
Thank you, Candy, for updating me on the audio. We apparently did not have an issue, so that's good to hear.
Let's don't get
Anyway,
paid. We get to pay
whew,
taxes. We don't
right?
get
That
to
would
commit
include
fraud.
marriage
I gotta
fraud.
go to
So
work tomorrow.
this is the third hubby that you're looking at on screen, Timmy Minette, and
So we got some fraud
I
stuff
think
going
that
on.
she's going to have problems with a few of these guys. Number two, there may be some problems with, and then number three, there may be some problems with, well, because he's got a lot of problems. Okay, we're talking a lot of problems, including the fact that he got paid by his wife so darn much money as the campaign manager, $2.8 million during the
Holy.
2020 campaign cycle. That was after they got married. You see,
Is
before they
that,
got
is that,
married,
is that legal?
she was
I
a
don't
little
think
bit
that's
cheap.
legal.
he only got $873,000 between 2018 and 2020. But what do you know? As soon as they were married,
2.8 million.
She's raking it in, 2.8 million. I mean, this is just wrong, guys. Like, it's just so flat out wrong. I can't even begin to tell you how wrong it is. And they were looking into her on this last time around with the Biden administration. New York Times did a big story on this recently saying, hey, you know what? It all began under the Biden administration. They started examining her finances. She's already been accused of money laundering now in the hearing present by many people who believe there was some funny stuff going on with Feeding Our Future and her husband's venture capital firm that really is not a venture capital firm. There's no way this thing's a venture capital firm.
No way.
I was looking at it, and I know what a venture capital firm is. I was reading it, and I've told you this before. If you just look at the website, here, we'll go to it. Take a look at the website. He claims he's had $60 billion assets under management. You know what, okay? Like, there's no way this guy has that much money under management.
No
That would make
way.
him one of the largest funds in the world, okay?
He
Like,
doesn't.
that's just not,
It's just
that's
a
not the
lie.
case. Here is his partnerships for global operators. Now, what do you think that is? Is that a partnership with Feeding Our Future? That doesn't sound like a venture capital firm to me. No, not at all. And keep in mind, let me see if we can put this graphic on the screen without totally covering my face. If you're listening to the audio version, thank you, but you should check out the full video version. We're on Spotify and we are on YouTube every day. Ilhan under investigation because, you know what, she may be possibly laundering money with her husband's help. After all, as I said, he's got a sketchy past. He apparently misrepresented himself to a wine investor. He told the wine investor that the wine investor would make 200% returns on a $300,000 investment, returns that never materialized. By the way, anytime somebody says
ever
that,
gonna happen?
like, look at it with such skepticism.
It's
I mean, here
never
I am
gonna
saying, well,
happen.
you know,
I'm sorry.
76
Sorry.
research. We did, by the way. And we are, like, legit, and we actually publish our reports every single month, and we're not invested. We never take any of your money other than the fee that you pay for the research, okay? But yeah, we did have a stock. Oh, where is that? Let me show you back on screen. We did have a stock that was up 139%. So here, I'm about to tell you, nobody can ever tell you they're going to make you 200%. And I'm not going to promise you I'm ever going to make you that much, but I am darn proud. Okay, because Rob and I put a lot of effort into picking these stocks, and so I'm like, woo, you know, we're up 139% with our top pick in materials over the last 12 months. That's not bad. All of the portfolios are beating the S&P quite handily this year, so again, go check them out at 76 Portfolios or 76research.com. Anyway, I digress. Usually I like to tell you nobody should offer. I will say this, you know, you should not be giving somebody your money and expect a return like that. I mean, that was really pretty aggressive marketing on Timmy
Nobody's
Minet's
giving you a return like that.
part.
That's
I want
just
to go back to the
fucking
graphic though.
crazy.
Let's see.
That's crazy.
Okay, so we have
They'll give you
this one we were talking
200%
about,
back.
the 200%
That's fucking
returns
bullshit.
that never happened, and then
Never
he
gonna
got
happen.
sued, and apparently they settled out of court. But I just think it's interesting that he was constantly accused of fraud.
Not interesting. He's a fucking fraud.
Both with the cannabis company and then again with the wine company. It just strikes me that he may not be all on the up and up.
Trish.
Because the fraud accusations, that's a big accusation. Those
The
things
only
are just
question
lingering
is-
out there. And then, well, we found this. Forbes reported this. And actually, if you didn't see my interview with Steve Forbes,
good
that
enough to
happened
hide
a
it
couple
so
of
he
weeks
doesn't
ago.
get
I
caught?
encourage you to go back and look at that episode because Steve was just terrific and he had a lot of really interesting things to
How
say.
well did he cover
He's
his
convinced
tracks?
this is money laundering. Absolutely convinced. Anyway,
Sure looks like it.
this Rose Lake
I mean,
Inc.
I don't know, but
It goes by Rose
just
Lake
looks
Inc.
like
It goes by Rose Lake
shady
Capital.
stuff everywhere.
This is the Hubby's company. He said somehow they missed their $403,000 tax bill. They never paid
Somehow you missed that.
$403,000 in taxes. I mean, I don't know what kind of financial firm that is. They're not registered with the SEC. I mean, and I also question her religious
Yeah, aren't they not supposed to
conviction,
be in like
given
an
that
alcohol and
she's
stuff?
married for the third time
And that
to a guy outside the faith
and
who
a
runs
brother. I
a
think
winery
that's all
in
right
name
though.
only,
I think
okay,
that
because they're on a
brother
vineyard.
and cousin loving is
and
okay.
a cannabis company. Haha.
I don't know if that's
Okay, so the investors were
How that
really
fits
mad
with their
because
religion.
they lost money in the cannabis venture with him. You know, again, the ethics committee was investigating her back in the day because of the massive payday. You don't pay your spouse that much money because then effectively you're paying yourself that much money. How is she getting away with this, you guys? She can't. Like, somebody's got to put a stop to it, all right? And that's why we're not giving up on this. Right here, you know, this guy, I have my suspicions. about the two of them. I will tell you this, if a private individual, look there on the screen, this is the law, solicits funds, claims they can secure access, approval, or guarantees tied to a government program, does not actually have lawful authority to do so, that would constitute wire fraud, false pretenses, conspiracy to defraud the United States if this is for a government program. And then it becomes even worse if that person has influence over a member of Congress, someone like Ilhan Omar. If that person, Timmy Minette, has inside access, if that person, Timmy Minette, has political connections to the likes of Ilhan Omar. So yeah, things are going to be looking kind of bad as the IRS and the Treasury Department look at the possibility of kickback schemes, money laundering.
Oh, there was some that. There was some definite
Consulting
kickbacks,
fees that aren't
money
really
laundering.
consulting
So what's
fees.
this we got down here? Some.
This could get ugly, and she knows it, and this is why she's shutting down when she's asked questions about it.
Just hiding.
Investigation into your net worth, you and your husband's net worth. They're claiming that it's risen rapidly. What's your response to what they're saying?
What's your response, Ilhan?
Do you think they'll find anything
That's what I
in their
thought.
investigation into your net worth?
Tell us a response, Ilhan. Didn't think so.
Zip Serenata, right?
Despite
Zip
that,
Serenata.
Omar denied being a millionaire earlier this year,
Why would
posting
she
on X,
deny
quote,
that?
I barely have
I mean, if you're a
thousands,
millionaire,
let alone
millionaire,
millions.
right.
House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer tells Fox News an investigation
Why
is
deny it?
underway, writing, quote, the committee is working on addressing ethics concerns regarding Representative Omar and her spouse, and we hope to have an update soon. But Omar says she's being targeted.
Ever since I've gotten to Congress, they have been doing these sort of weird
Racist.
ethics
Course.
investigations. None of
Not
them
that.
have yielded
Everybody's tired
anything
of
because
that.
I have been as transparent as
Apparently
I can
not.
be.
Apparently,
Uh,
she has not been
I
very
kind of
transparent.
beg to differ. I
Yeah.
think that sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And the reason they keep doing these ethics investigations is because you're doing some really sketchy, sus stuff, like paying your husband $2.8 million. Nobody makes that kind of money. I've told you this before. Look, $4 million was like, woo, when they were talking about Joe Biden's campaign. It was so astronomical that the New York Times did a giant front page piece on this. Nobody could believe that he was being paid $4 million. You think a little teeny tiny congressional campaign out there in Minneapolis is worth $3 million, which is effectively what she was paying him? No. But she was paying herself, okay? Because she married the guy, so it's all in the family, for goodness sakes.
Crazy.
She's got to be out for that reason alone.
Yeah.
She's not the only one.